Hello, and a big warm welcome to you, and welcome to another one of my quick videos. I'm going to aim to keep it quick because I do like to describe things at length. So I've been asking for questions or things you'd like me to address, and someone wrote and said, what about a little Facebook Live on children need to be taught or told how to behave? This attitude seems to fall into the authoritarian approach for me. Love the Marion Rose slant on this. So I love your question. I really go back to the Aletha Salter slant on this, which what I really love is, let's pause there. So I'm going to talk more about her model. What I'd love to go back to behaviourism. So in the behaviourism model, which we've really come out of and we're still coming out of, is really based on the idea that children are born, we're all kind of born naturally, almost kind of like bad, and we need to be taught and to be told how to be loving, compassionate, cooperative members of society. And before that was kind of the even more kind of even before was more kind of a religious model, which was kind of the idea that we're born sinful, and really children, if they were having tantrums or they were crying a lot, it would be seen as they were possessed by the devil, those kinds of things. So and then behaviorism is kind of like a less it's kind of less than that. But really what I love is the aware parenting understanding, which is, I really love Aletha's model. I use it all the time, which is when children do things that we're not enjoying. Yeah, sometimes that's because of our own sweet spots, but generally if they're doing things like hitting or biting or throwing things, or one of the many things we find challenging, it's usually because of three reasons. And one of the reasons is that they're lacking information. So again, I always love to quote Aletha's example. She talks about, children do need to learn that we're happy, what we're happy with. We're happy for them to draw on paper, but not necessarily on walls, although some people may be happy for that. But so, there is a learning component of fitting into any culture or society. So there is some learning that's involved, but that learning can be very compassionate. A lot of it's actually modeling, and that's how they're actually, learning to what we want in any culture. But in parenting, I think still we tend to think that that's the biggest thing. We tend to think when children are doing something we don't enjoy, or not doing something we do want, not doing something we want them to do, or they are doing something we don't want them to do, that they're lacking information. And that's why, I don't know if you found yourself, but often it's very easy to fall into that, be gentle, be gentle, be gentle, or I told you not to, I told you to do this, or I told you, or reminding information, because we tend to think that that's where our actions come from as human beings, thoughts and understanding. But human beings, that's really only one element of why we do things we do. And for children, it actually has an even less of an impact. I talk about the thinky piece, and yeah, the thinky piece is important. They do need information, but often I reckon it's the least common reason why they do things we don't enjoy, or vice versa. So the other two reasons are they have unmet needs, or they have accumulated painful feelings that they're holding in their bodies, that makes them feel really uncomfortable and agitated, and that leads to those behaviours. So it's these two pieces, is really understanding that is generally what causes the things that we find challenging. Caslin, hello, welcome Caslin. So what I love about them, the basic underpinning of this model is that we are actually, and I talk about the 3 C's, where actually our true nature is connected, compassionate, cooperative. That's who we really are. And if you've done any kind of spiritual practice or psychospiritual, or that's you've done reading, or you have that kind of way of thinking about the world, that's often the core belief we have, isn't it, that we are love. And what I love about this approach is a very practical, tangible way to actually really observe that in children, that their true nature is connected compassionate, cooperative. And actually I've got a list of 10 C's if you ever want to hear it. Concentrating, calm, all these kinds of things, and that's actually the true nature. So when they are doing things that we find challenging, it's generally, yes, sometimes it is information, but that's the least likely. Usually it's because they have an unmet need that we need to meet for them, often for connection, choice, autonomy, play, consideration, respect, those kinds of things. Or the most likely is usually because they have these painful feelings bubbling up that we often don't understand, and that's what creates the things we don't enjoy. And it's exactly the same for us as parents, and that's why I'm so passionate about compassion, because again, we've often grown up in this paradigm where we think, why am I, I've done this thing to my child, maybe I've spoken harshly to them or been reactive, and in our paradigm again we've learned to then judge ourselves, because that's what we got and we internalized it. That's, or should ourselves, so we feel guilty, judge ourselves, feel shame, compare ourselves, feel uncomfortable, rather than looking at it's not because we lack. Sometimes again it is information, sometimes we might need to know a little bit about child development or some new parenting strategies, yes, but again, that's like the tip of the iceberg. Again, generally, when we act in ways we don't want to as parents, it's either because we have unmet needs, and often chronic unmet needs for rest, for community, for compassion, for empathy, for support, for stimulation, for understanding, all these things that then lead to us doing things that we don't enjoy, and also all our own painful feelings from our own childhood and infant experiences that also bubble up to be heard and healed as parents. So again, that's what I love about this approach. It's why for children, punishments and rewards, clearly the research has shown over many years they do not work. You may get a compliant child, it may seem to work for a while, but long term it really doesn't work. And the same with guilt and shame. It doesn't work. You can guilt yourself for the next 50 years and you're still going to, when you're upset or when your needs are unmet, you're probably going to still do things you don't want to do. The way to help us get more connected to our true nature, which is love, which is connection, compassion, cooperation, calm, creativity, all the 10 C's, is more compassion, more listening. What are the unmet needs? Let's listen to the painful accumulated feelings, and then children can be naturally calm, cooperative, concentrating, clear, they can sleep easily, all these things. And it doesn't come through teaching. Yes, information is important, but it's the tip of the iceberg. Hi, Kathleen, and hi, Ebony. And I always love the story that I love to share. When my children were younger, like I remember often when they were like 2 and 6 and those kinds of ages, and we'd go to restaurants, the 4 of us with their dad as well, and they would sit and they would be really calm and really relaxed and very just sitting quietly and happy to be there, and we'd have things and we'd be engaging, and often at the end the waitress or the waiter would often say, very well behaved children, very good children. And I'd often kind of giggle to myself because I was imagining that they would be thinking that's because, there's been lots of, telling them the right way to behave at restaurants and punishments and rewards and all that kind of stuff. And really it was just because we listened to a hell of a lot of feelings. They got to do a lot of crying, a lot of raging at home. And it meant generally when we were out in those places, they were connected with all those C's in themselves, which was, it really was evidence for me. And if you know any of my story, you'll know that things went a little bit pear-shaped later on. My ex-husband and I separated, and then I saw the other side of things, and I saw how things can look very different when everyone's got lots of upset feelings. So, my highly scientific experiment, I've really seen firsthand that, that the true nature of children and in all the parents I work with. And yes, from moment to moment, feelings can bubble up and children can act in ways we don't enjoy, and we can too. The more we can listen compassionately to needs and feelings, the more they can be loving, cooperative, gentle, compassionate. You know, we don't ever need to teach them to say please and thank you. We just need to say please and thank you to them, treat them respectfully. You know, I never did that. I was going to say, it sounds like I never treated my children respectfully. I never asked my children to say please or thank you. I would say it for them if I thought someone else wanted that. And, you know, my son consistently, and my daughter too, you know, they say please and thank you. And it's so much more wonderful to hear that from a child when you know it's freely given. It hasn't been, you know, they haven't been told to be nice and to be good and to be well behaved. It's actually their true nature. And that's what I love about this approach. That is a child's true nature: loving, compassionate, connected, cooperative, calm, concentrating, clear. That's who we really are. That's who they really are. And if they're not being like that, or we're not being like that, we need more compassion, generally not more information. Yeah, more information sometimes, but generally more compassion. Tracy K, welcome, welcome. So, hope that's helpful. How long was that? Can't even see. I'm finding it hard to get these very, very short. I will get more practice at doing quick 5-minute, 2-minute ones, but anyway, 10 minutes. Come and share if you want to share your own experiences with this. And again, you know, please, this doesn't mean to hit yourself with a stick if your child isn't being like this. It's just more compassion for ourselves, more compassion for our children. We live in a culture that doesn't really support this kind of parenting, and it's not easy. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of inner healing, a lot of support. So yes, and it's never too late to help our children stay and be reconnected with who they really are. Thanks for watching. So much love to you all. See you again in tomorrow's Facebook Live. If you have anything you want me to talk about in these mini Facebook Lives, come and share. I'd love some more topic ideas. Lots of love. See you tomorrow.